All right, so you've done a lot of CDs. You got several more in the works. Hearing that, someone would probably think that writing comes easily to you and on a regular basis. Would you say that's true?
It used to not be so easy. I used to have a lot of problems with writer's block. And I took a course at, I guess it was at the Creative Center. What's the Creative Center now? It used to be called the Sanctuary.
Right.
Called The Artist Way. It was written by Julia Cameron. And taking that course really opened my eyes to how to transition from the frustrated, I'm blocked, I can't write, to how do I make this a craft?
Right.
To where it doesn't matter how I feel, it matters what I do. And every day I can show up at the page and show up at the guitar and come up with something. And my feelings, while they inform a lot of what goes into it, they're not relevant to have output, if that makes any sense.
So it's not the destination so much as the journey, basically?
I guess so.
You don't have to have a finished song or a song you love every time you sit down?
Right, and I just got through a process of, I guess you could say I've become prolific. As I was working on this one record, I'm writing for next year, and I've finished all those songs, and I wanted to write 40 songs. And that sounds like a lot, but...
It does sound like a lot.
It really wasn't. It was sitting down going, okay, I'm going to take this idea and this idea that don't belong together, and I'm going to put them together in the same room and see what happens.
Okay.
And so I like to write from collision, like two things that don't really go together. What happens when you put them together, and what story comes out of that? What kind of feelings come out of that? What kind of sounds come out of that? What kind of instruments would show up at that party? That kind of thing. And I just did that, and it's so fun that it didn't feel like work at all.
Did this come out of that Artist Way thing, or is this something you've brought on yourself?
Personally, I don't do that program has a morning page thing where you write 3 pages. I don't do that, but I do get up and write every day. I write at the same time. I write from 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. every day, just a half hour. But you do that every day, and you have a good body of work at the end of it.
Yeah. But I'm thinking that's not just maybe writing lyrics, but because I know you blog as well, so is that in that same...
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I'll dedicate some time there. And sometimes it trickles over to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Just keep going.
I'm curious now because I mentioned the word blog. Have you ever been in the middle of a blog and gone, wow, that sentence or that thought would really make a good song? Or,
sometimes. Or
vice versa. This song might make a really cool blog. So they do feed each other?
I had a lofty aspiration to write a book one time, and I was writing the concept down, and I went, this is a good song. This is not.
It's not really a book.
I couldn't explain it to somebody. Like I went to one of the writing guys at the Creative Center. He said, "I have an idea for a book." He said, "Well, tell me about it." And I went, "Nah." And the song was called Ghost Hotels on an album that I did a couple years ago. And the song came out great, all of it. It just, you're right. Writing will go other places than just on the page. It'll show songs and stuff too.
You've had a lot of experiences in your career, starting with college and doing CDs and obviously traveling and hearing your song on the radio. Working with record companies, what would you say was the greatest challenge in your time so far? The biggest maybe hurdle to overcome, or personal challenge to
I think for me, it continues to be perfectionism is a real, it's a nasty thing, and I like for things to be perfect. And the problem with perfect art is that it's actually mediocre. It takes out all of its warts and its nuances and things that make it just weird enough to be cool. That it's not very interesting. So I try to balance my own standards with keeping the integrity of the piece together. So I think perfectionism is a thing a lot of us deal with. And
so you have to keep talking to yourself or pulling yourself out of that.
Yeah, and it's about sharing the music with other people and realizing, okay, maybe this isn't as good as I thought it was. Or maybe this is better than I thought it was, and just really not keeping it a secret.
Do you have go-to people with music?
Yeah, I do. I'll play the songs for some people that come to the shows and say, oh, I like that, or I don't like that too much. You really need to do it. And I'll say, okay, thank you for telling me that. And sometimes I beat myself up over, over the feedback.
My question, I think, was more, is there somebody that you respect so much in your own mind that you present things to them first?
Yeah. I have a couple people that I'll say, here's my new stuff, what do you think? And
right.
They'll be pretty honest about it. So,
and you're open and accepting of criticism then? Because that would seem to me to be a tough thing to deal with.
Well, it is when in an artist's mind there's this concept, or you really try and do it your best, and if someone says, I don't know if this is right for you, it might not be the right approach, but at the same time, I think it's good to take risks and step outside of one's own comfort zone. So it's a that's a balancing act too.
Is songwriting for you like it tends to be for me? It's like my newest song is always my best one, and it's always like I get real excited about it. And then
I have a collection of songs I'm very excited about now that I just finished, but I have some real stinkers in there. I mean, they're just like, wow, that's bad. I listen to it and go, I can't believe I actually thought that was good.
What was I thinking?
Yeah, and sometimes those moments end up being very revered by my fans or people I listen to. Wow, that was so cool. It's so different for you.
Have you ever thrown a track like that on a CD? Just I
have an album that called The Lessons of Autumn. I made it in college, and we had 10 songs, and the manager said we need 11. So me and the drummer set up right like next to me, and and acoustic guitar. We tracked it, and the song was called "Trouble in the Barnyard." It was just. It's a good song, kind of, but it really was. There's no thought to it, and the rough mix made it onto the record, and people were like, that's the best one.
Isn't that amazing?
That's the best one.
Yeah.
You won't take that off. That's it.
All right, so we've talked about challenges. What would you say was maybe the finest moment or the biggest reward? Maybe an event or a gig or even some kind of acknowledgement you got, recognition you got. Do you remember anything that stands out?
I've gotten a lot of awards. I've been on the charts. I've been on Billboard. But I gotta say, when I get, this sounds so corny, but it's true. It's just when I get those emails from people that says, your song changed my life. That's why I do this.
Right.
If it helps one person.
I was going to say, it only takes one of those, right?
It makes a lifetime of work worthwhile. If you save one life or change one life, but with what you're doing, what other reward do you need? I think that's
fantastic.
That's really why I keep doing it. And sometimes I say, oh gosh, this is very good. But I still do it. And I love the process and the community aspect of playing music. When you have fans that like what you do and relate to what you do, sometimes shows just become more like reunions.
Yeah.
They come out and say, oh yeah, I remember listening to you 10 years ago. How are you? And getting to know folks that relate to music. It takes the musician away from being this icon to more of like a buddy. Like, I know that guy. He's pretty cool. Rather than, everybody becomes a musician and becomes someone who's so untouchable and therefore unrelatable, really. But
no, I like to hear that. I think it's kind of very cool that your level of success is related to a song touching one person.
Yeah.
When most people think of careers and success as being how much money I have in the bank or what countries I can fly to every year and who I can impress. So I like hearing that.
I've been, done moderately well financially, and I've been dirt poor during the past 20 years, but the one thing that's been the same has been the music. So, that's all good. It's just, it is what it is, and it's a journey, and I'm going to keep going until it's time to stop.
Right.